What's up YouTube? So I want to share my results for mining crypto for the last couple of days. I was going to do it earlier this week, but we had a massive storm. There was rain pouring for 2 constant days. I mean, there was roads flooded. There was parks that were flooded. It was hectic. I mean, some of the roads have even collapsed because of all this rain we've received. It was pretty hectic the last 2 days, and it's still just very wet at the moment. But we did at least have sun today. And then also at the same time, crypto basically crashed. I mean, Bitcoin dropped like 30% in the last 5 days, and then Ethereum dropped also above 30%. It's just, I don't know. I thought I was going into a good adventure, buying a mining rig. it's been cool. So let's look at the stats. So I've been running this rig for 12 days, so from the 3rd of June all the way to the 14th. On average, I've made around 66 Rand a day, which isn't that bad. In Bitcoin, that's around 0.00236659 worth of Bitcoin that I've made. In total, I've made just under 800 Rand, so not that bad. And then in dollars value of Bitcoin, it's $50 I've made. So let's now look at my power usage. So the rig's using around 663 watts, and per day that's around 16 kilowatts. So for the 12 days it's 190 kilowatts I've used. So if I were paying for electricity, I would have paid around 400 Rand. So basically half my profits from mining would have gone straight to electricity. I mean, that's bad. That's really bad if you're having to pay electricity. But me being on solar, I actually use a little bit less. So I calculated it to be around 53%. So let's have a quick look. So if you look at the graph over here, you can see my usage and battery discharge and grid import. So on average, I've been importing from the grid around 11.57 kilowatts. But that needs to take into account that I'm using my washing machine, my dishwasher, cooking stuff on the stove, and etc. So that it needs to be accounted for. So it's not just purely the rig there. On a good day when the solar's really pumping well, over here I'm using around 7.5 to around 9.8 kilowatts per day that the grid's importing. So basically these good days where I'm not using so much electricity, I'll round it off to around 8 kilowatts that I'm importing extra because of the rig. And here's a quick my graph. So you can see from the last 5 days, you can see the PV panels there. It generates a nice little loop. But then some of the days, you can see further on, I had some cloudy cover. So that's where you have spikes. It almost looks like a heart rate monitor. So it's going up and down. And literally, when the storm was coming, I had almost no import from solar, and that was literally then the 13th. I had to basically pay for 34 kilowatts of power from the grid. So that was a bit expensive, but I mean, it's something I have to get used to and just factor in when there's rainy days. So we are in winter, so we've got a lot less sun. So when summer comes, my solar generation is going to be double compared to what it is now, and I'm going to have the sun for longer. So I should be technically still off grid once I'm in summer. So let's look quickly at how much I would have made then. So overall, from the 794 Rand with the grid import at around 8 kilowatts a day, I'm pulling extra for the rig, I've made around 609 Rand. Percentage wise return for the 12 days, it's just under 1%, so 0.89%. Per day, 0.0743. So how many days will it take for me to cut even? 1,345 days. So 3 years and 8 months, which is bad, really bad. So this is if I keep going at the current Bitcoin price. So if Bitcoin doubles in value, so let's say it goes up to $40,100, it's going to take me 1.6 years, so So 1 year and 7.5 months or so to get my money back, which is a lot quicker if Bitcoin goes back in price. The one thing I want to mention is that when the crash happened, my Bitcoin that I was earning didn't decrease. So if you look on the 14th and the 13th and the 12th, that's when Bitcoin started to crash. The amount I'm getting is still more or less the same. I mean, on the 14th, I made more Bitcoin, though the value was less in Rand's values because the value of Bitcoin dropped. I'm still making the same amount of Bitcoin per day. So basically, if I keep my Bitcoin and the value goes back up, I'll make my money back a lot quicker. So I just need to keep my money in Bitcoin and wait for it to go back up, which eventually it will. And when Bitcoin goes back up, you can see my profits double. So I'll be making around 1,600 Rand instead of the 800 Rand. And then I'll make around 1,200 after paying electricity. So I'm still saving quite a bit of money, 50% on electricity. But when summer comes, I'll be saving even more. So I'm curious to see how that goes. Cool guys, I hope you found this video interesting. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. I'll be doing another video in a week's time or so just to see how my stats have increased and if Bitcoin's gone back up or if it's gone worse. Cool guys, cheers.